Alright. Here we go. Welcome to Gehennam. Press enter to click the screen. I can do that. Fair enough. I can do that. They. They. There. There's. Them. And self. I'm using they pronouns because I am using a Vaki. I can't tell if that's okay. I can barely read that font. Okay. Put your name. Doop. Okay. It all looks so pretty. What the fuck? Alright, the Ridam. Most Ridam reside on the Memphis River near the Red Coast. Their city is protected by a vast and magical jungle. Their skin varies from person to person, but they all distinguish constellation like freckles on their faces, knuckles, and shoulders. They often look like colored hair and irises. The Ridam are typically scholars and healers. The Ridam have travels and get the healing down. Ooh. Rather than the surrounding regions, however, they can be found all over the planet, even to the far reaches of the frozen tundras of. Oh my god! Oh my god. Those guys in the deserts, the badlands where food is scarce. Those who just city trade the goods in the black market. All dogs within the city are requested to wear masks. All dogs are a bestial race and typically follow the command. The strongest among them, magical ability is rare. For some time. This is all so cool. Oh my god. Alright, Vaki I've already decided is Ridam. So, yes. Look at this! Okay. Broken and splintered bone heals under the magic in your touch, mending marrow and muscle and setting the puzzle pieces back into place. Your patient sighs in relief as you slowly mend his broken leg from the inside out. There is a knock at the door. Well, Waki doesn't speak. Imagine he throws a shoe instead. You call out without leaving your patient's side, deep in concentration as you focus your mana through broken bone and torn tissue. You're greeted by your friend. There she is! Oh, I'm smiling a mile a minute. I'm just happy to see her. She smiles and faces the side of a person laying on your kitchen table. This is normal, whatever. It's been a regular occurrence ever since you moved in. Healing the sick and wounded is your calling. You were trained in the ways of the Ridam healing arts, and the people of the Onyx Quarter are in dire need of your talents. Good morning. Salam seems full of energy this morning. Your razor-sharp focus is completely focused on the wound within your patient, and all you can manage in response is a muffled good morning. I see you're busy, but I think you might want to take a look at this. Her smile fades. She extends a carefully sealed letter. Your ears perk up, but your eyes never waver from your charges as you apply pressure to the wound with one hand, taking the letter in the other. Oh, okay. Reading. From the court of the Empress Fritta, the patron saint of Skrios, god of destruction and chaos, child of the eternal flame. That's a hell of a title. During this time of the calling, the Empress seeks a small number of her subjects to present themselves in her court in order to petition for a boon from the Empress. This is a great honor and mercy bestowed upon the subjects of Gehennam by the Empress. The Ridamavoki has been chosen as one of her petitioners. The Empress demands the presence of the Ridamavoki in her court in order to present their petition in exchange for their life. Failure to present themselves in court will lead to seizure of their person. The petitioner must be willing to accept any terms that the Empress places upon them in exchange for accepting their petition. If, at any time, the Empress finds that the petitioner has offended her, they will face a punishment as decided by the Empress. The conditions that the Empress finds offensive are not such as any law occurring in the past of the country. These conditions are wholly decided by the immediate women of the Empress. If she feels they cannot meet these conditions, then I must extend a personal apology to them, as there is no way to retract their petition's acceptance. Welp, so you're screwed. If the petitioner feels any fear at this time, there is no one but themselves to blame. The punishment for attempting to refuse this offer extends beyond death. Seriously, so you're screwed. Sounds about right. You're screwed. A letter from the Empress, huh? What sort of trouble have you been getting yourself into? Knowing Avoki all of it? You and your patient exchange looks, and you stare at the sentences on the letter in disbelief until the words turn to nonsense and the reality of the situation sets in. Fear rushes through your veins, anxiety setting in like a weight upon your chest. You've heard rumors and stories of the Empress, some inspiring, some terrifying, all of them depicting a woman larger than life, a demigod among mere mortals. You suck in a deep breath and nod your head in understanding, at least as much as you can understand it. What would the Empress want with you? You are no battle mage or sorcerer, you barely know the pointy end of a sword from the hilt. Your life has been dedicated to helping others, not cutting them down. The sound of footsteps breaks your thoughts. You quickly fold the letter and shove it into your pocket. Oh, this music is so good. Fuck. More visitors? You're not so sure. A magical aura permeates your mind, searching and prodding for the source of magic radiating from your house. You hold fast as the door pushes open, never taking your attention off your patient. And, ooh. I didn't mean to hit that, but we'll just... Before you and Jin Man stands at the ready with flames dancing and sparking his fingertips and a cursor in the other hand. Oh! You can't just have them show up like that from nowhere. I can't handle it. That's folly. Stop. The guard has you surrounded. He seems sure of himself until the reality of the situation hits him. I was expecting... This music, though. I was expecting something nefarious, not healing magic. Forgive me for my rude intrusion. Ridam are generally peaceful, but you are ready to defend your patient and Salam if need be, regardless of whether or not you know anything about battle. Watching the flames slowly dissipate fills you with some relief. Gods, any more distractions? Ooh, she's pissed. Salam gives the man a sideways glance as if she knows him and isn't pleased with his dramatic entrance. Whatever happened to knocking? Are unit nobles above such common courtesy? He guffawed. Look at his face! He guffaws, hiding his embarrassment with amusement. My name... There he is! There he is! My name is I can't read, I'm too tired. My name is Valerio Corset, one of the Empress's champions. You may call me Valley. Ha! I love him. We champions take collecting the magi of the city very seriously during the culling. Usually our charges aren't pleased with us, so we have to be prepared. We are accustomed to encountering a mage who intends to defy us, but it seems today I found one that is more concerned with helping and healing. Well, don't just stand there. Help me apply pressure to this wound so you can collect me. The tension within the room grows for a moment. The bustling of the city outside seems oddly far away, the air thick like sludge. Slum quietly returns to the far side of the room, keeping an eye on your interaction with the noble. The noble stands silent for a few minutes before he shrugs and approaches the table. You can feel the immense power radiating off him like a forest fire brimming under mortal skin, but he doesn't seem to intend to harm you for the moment. He's surprisingly gentle as he brushes cloth against the patient's legs, stifling the slow bleeding. Is this really one of Ifrit's champions? You mend the arteries and muscles, pulling together tissue like an art form. It comes so easily to you, the skin restoring closing does more than a fresh scar. Careful, you lost quite some blood. Take it easy for a few days in here. Take this for the pain. Offer your patient a herbal remedy, something simple and effective. You slip a few coins into your pocket for your work before they hobble out the door. Then you gather up the used supplies and dispose of them within a medical bin. If you're going to the court, I suggest you change out of those old clothes into something more appropriate. You silently nod your agreement and look to Salam for help. She takes your hint and quickly jumps to attention. I can give you some tips for what to wear. Try dressing like you're wearing the entire treasury on your body. just a volley. Salam quickly ushers you into the empty room, shutting the door behind her. You both use the moment of privacy to simultaneously breathe a sigh of relief. Even now you feel the tendrils of the noble's magic seeking you, making sure you're not trying to make a quick escape. Never heard of the calling. I'm not surprised, you've only been within the city for a few months. I think they purposely leave the people in the dark about the true nature of the calling to prevent rebellion, of course. It is a generational event that every 30 years, or whenever the Empress is in need of a new acolyte to add to her inner circle, the Empire will round up every mage they can find, pitting them against warriors and beasts to test their worth. Well, shit. It is a way of controlling the mage population and to curate only the most powerful magi for her collection. Do you think that the Empress wants to add me to her court? Perhaps if she sent her champion to collect you, then it's obvious that she wants you in her custody. Usually Magi wouldn't be given the privilege of meeting the Empress until they have proven their mettle. It seems you are the exception. As Salam explains to you all the nuances of the Imperial Court, you quickly change to the best pair of robes you own. Simple but well made, your navy blue stitched robes remind you of your homeland, and you feel a pang of homesickness. Memories of days spent wandering the map of the coast of your homeland flash your mind. The peaceful days of your childhood, now a faint memory of this chaotic but wondrous city. You take one last deep breath, slipping into your boots. You have no one to take with you, just a crooked wooden staff that you pass off as a walking stick. Proving your mettle sounds like a bad idea. You've never been one to respond to violence. However, this is your only chance. It was now or never. I see. Then it seems I have no choice. You perfected the art of appearing calm and collected while a storm brews inside you. Hundreds of scenarios dance across your mind, with all the terrible ones taking the forefront. But still, you refuse to show any sort of fear or anxiety. You remain calm as a lake on a still morning, undisturbed, unmoved. You return to the Magister, ready to meet your fate. You fear leaving behind the people of the city, for if you never return, there would be one less person to show compassion to those in most need of help. Let's make this quick, then. I have patients to return to. I can stay here and help where I can. I am a doctor, after all. It should be no problem. Please don't stress yourself on account of me, Salam. Nonsense, I can keep the clinic going while you're away. Look at her! They're all so cute! I've been through more than just the workload from a couple of extra patients, be safe, Valky. Salam laughs and shakes her head, shooing the both of you off. Everything is just so pretty. Fuck! You take one last look at the place you've made your home, your sanctuary, at least when there weren't dying patients coming through. It was actually quite cozy. Now you're not sure you'll ever have the privilege of peace and quiet again. The streets of the city spread out before you, hard and unyielding, full of sharp towers and marbled monuments. You travel through the bronze civil quarters. You swear not to a beautiful palace, but to a sharp and uninviting jail. You freeze up images of execution, whether by sword or by beast or by sorcery, flashing through your mind. Valerio keeps you walking. A stout and withered Njit greets you and the Magister, though it is hardly a friendly welcome with the gallows in the distance. If you are to die, you hope it is at least exciting. Death by decapitation or hanging seem terribly droll when one could die in a world of magic. Yeah. This one is heading to the palace tomorrow and needs to keep up appearances. Please try to keep them in one piece. Valley scowls at the warden, and the warden crumbles under his order, sweating nervously. They will be getting special treatment then. Come along then, your cell is waiting. Did it all up nice for you, rats and all. You cringe at the idea of sleeping in a dank, moldy cell for an evening, but at least your survival is assured for another night. You've gotten used to Valley's presence and don't want to leave his side at this point. What choice do you have? You follow the warden into the jail. The sound of rattling chains pierces your ears, cries and angry curses. Engaged people fill you with dread. The music is so good. Like, so good. Fuck! You come to the last cell on the block. The bars buzz, electrical impulses pulsing along the cell door. The warden inserts the special key and the buzzing stops. The door sliding open to reveal a small and dark cell, complete with a thin cot, a bucket, and little else. You sigh and enter, brushing the dust off your cot before you sit down. The door slams shut, the buzzing resuming, enchanted waves of electricity sneaking up and down the bars to taunt you with your imprisonment. The noise slowly lulls away you from the terrible noises of the jail around you, and you fall into a deep sleep. You awake the next morning to the sound of your cell doors reaching up, and your body sore and bruised, but your mind is wide awake while he stands before you, his head tilted curiously. I hated to leave you here, but it's part of the process. All rogue magi must be seen and recorded by the Empire before they go to the Empress. Valley reaches out and grabs your wrists. You are shocked at first, only to realize that he is gently unshackling you from your irons. You rub your bruised wrists and nod in appreciation. Let's not keep the Empress waiting. Yes, the sooner we get out of here, the better. Fuck, man. Why is everything so pretty? Jeez. Leaving behind the honest quarter is perhaps the biggest culture shock of your life. The golden quarter was the picture of beauty and class, a balance between blustering opulence and structured order. As you follow Volley through the streets, free of your shackles, you can better appreciate the sights and smells of the upper city. The palace rises above you in an impressive display of wealth and power, towering into the orange speckled sky. Volley leads you towards the gates, and you exhale slowly, preparing yourself for whatever horrible fate could await you. The massive prismarian gates glide open before you, creaking steel ringing through your ears. You refuse to give up hope. You've gotten yourself out of sticky situations before, although nothing of this magnitude. You reach the doors of the palace, massive archways depicting mythological creatures of terrible menacing proportions to similar... Give me a second. Simurgs. I'm calling them Simurgs until I'm told I'm very wrong. Engraved in the gold hang above the large golden doors, their gemstone eyes seem to follow you. You can't keep doing this! I'm going to get a heart attack! A woman clad in armor stood before the palace doors, gazing upon the engravings deep in thought. A lovely day, isn't it, General Noor? Yay! Yay! Noor turned to face the two of you, her eyes narrowing and marked interest upon you. So this is the monge we're looking for. Noor gives you a once-over with her eyes. No matter how hard you try, you cannot read her stoic expression. While you go on ahead, I will bring the prisoner to the throne room. The Empress is expecting us now. The General beckons Valerio to the gates, you following close behind. You remember Salam mentioning this general. Like Vali, she emits a very powerful aura. You felt magnetically drawn to her. With Nora's hand firmly guiding you towards the palace gates, you take a deep breath, preparing yourself for whatever horrible fate awaits you. Would the Empress execute you? Perhaps. From what you know of the Empress, she was like a cat who enjoyed playing with the prey, tormenting it before killing it. Fun. Despite what the letter had said, the Empress was not known for her mercy. It's so pretty. What the fuck? A world of splendor opens up before you. Flowers adorn the carved golden walls. The scent of jasmine and myrrh fills your nostrils. You are escorted through the hallways by the general. The general is quiet, contemplative, and you feel compelled to break the silence. You feel intimidated by the general, as you should, but you couldn't help but admire the position she carved out for herself. The idea leaves you optimistic that maybe, just maybe, you might find a place within the Empress's court, if you're just clever enough. General Noor releases you, pushing open the doors for you to enter. You look at her, your face full of confusion and a twinge of fear, and her expression changes. Perhaps she feels sympathy. It's hard to read her. She's so pretty. I will leave you to mingle with the court. If the Empress finds you suitable, we will speak again. Okay. Nora leaves you and you're forced to take her advice. You look over the people within the court. A few catch your eye. A finely dressed Ridam woman, a mere mysterious masculine thug, an intimidating but regal man. I think I know who. I think I know who is who. I did! I did! Ha! Ha! Okay. I'll go first. Yay! Oh, she's so pretty! What the fuck? Your palms glow clammy and you nervously clasp them together as you approach the Ridam noblewoman. As you approach, you forget your fear and are entranced by her beauty. Big fucking mood! They say the Empress of Frita is the most beautiful in the land, but compared to the Ridam before you, you could not imagine anyone more beautiful than her. Ah! Why is it a competition? Because they're all just so pretty. Her skin is riddled with stars that glimmer every time she moves. Her aura sinks to the ocean and the stars above. She invites you in like a warm, calm tide on a sunny day. You muster the courage to speak, and despite your anxiety, the words flow out with ease. Hello, it's a pleasure to meet you. I am a Valky. The woman turns her head, giving you a small smile as she looks you over. She doesn't seem to be overtly judging, just curious. She's so pretty. You recognize her now. She is the Princess of the Ridam. Princess, I can say it. Hold on. Anke Cinnamon? Anke Cinnamon? Someone tell me if I'm right. I'm just going to say Anka until I know if it's right. Princess Anka Cinnamon. What is she doing here? How charming. This is your first time here, correct? I'll be honest, this is my first time too. You notice I don't frown. I love her. It flickers away instantly. A spike of nervousness, perhaps. It was hard to tell considering the anxiety building in your own chest. Mood. We are both a long way from the Memf. How are things back home? Everything is as usual. The kingdom is thriving. The people are happy. What brings you to Davamant? Ooh, Davamant. She pauses, face blank and unreadable. After a moment, the smile disappears and she speaks once again. You see the same worry return to her face. She doesn't make an attempt to hide it. But I can feel the change on the tide and the very stars themselves. It's what brought me all the way to Davamant. You cannot bear to see your princess with so much sadness on her face. You attempt to change the conversation to anything, really. The Imperial City is nice, but nothing like home. I came here to learn, but when I saw how many people needed my help, I couldn't stand by and watch. She she smiles now, and suddenly a weight has been lifted off your chest. You feel your body warming with her grin.
Oh, she's so pretty.
I see you have a heart that is ready to give to others, and a mind that is ready to receive knowledge. Those are two very admirable traits. You hear someone beckon the princess, who turns her head in their direction. A companion? If you will excuse me, I have matters to attend to. I wish you good luck with your petition. She winks before taking her leave.
Hooroo!
The little tongue is mysterious and haughty. He doesn't even acknowledge your presence until you clear your throat and demand that he look at you. Your tongue feels twisted in shock. Seeing a little dog within a Fritta's palace was like finding a duckling among beautiful swans. How do you serve the Empress? You notice there's scarring behind the mask. Maybe he can't speak? Yo. Technically, Avaki doesn't speak. I have to think of something fun for this. He said the Empress. He knows there's scarring behind his mask. Maybe he can't speak. Oh, I can scroll to go back. Bruh. Thank God, because I am an idiot who forgets things. What sort of horrible thing had the Empress done to his visage? Oh, I'm just the errand boy. I get these nice clothes because the Fritta thinks I have a wonderful personality. I can't think of anything other than Huru. You believe him for a second. He said it with such assertiveness that you quickly realize he's merely playing a trick on you. Funny, I'm not seeing any of that wonderful personality. Shit! You're sassy without even having to choose it. I love it. Oh, you want to sneak away for a second so I can show you all the aspects of my wonderful personality? You blush at the remark. You're burning hot with the idea of running off with this little dog. You brush away the thoughts before they overwhelm you, and you remember what you initially asked him. Be honest, what do you do? Honestly, in a Fritta's court, would you like me to pull a rabbit from a hat too? No, just an answer to my question. He pauses for a beat. Watching. I watch people. People watching. Sometimes I remember them, pay them visits, drop by. An unsettling reply. How long have you been watching? Long enough to know that you've set up a little healing clinic in the lower city, giving and giving without asking for anything in return. No good deed goes unpunished, as they say. Your patients are a gossipy bunch. You feel your body tense, the anxiety bubbling in your throat and pushing you to the brink of shaking. If he knew this, what else did he know? If the Empress knew everything, you had no chance. Don't worry, if you were to be executed, the formality of being in court wouldn't have happened. He pauses when you noticeably calm down. You see a spark of mischief in his eyes. Unless the Empress is bored and wants to have her fun. Who knows? Petitions are always interesting. You feel the panic rising back into your chest. Was he trying to play a game with you? This was life or death and he was treating it as a fun game. You grasp onto anything, something to hold you down from obviously shaking. It seems like he says it's your fear, even if he intended to make it happen. You look up at the warm hands on your shoulders. His head cants to the side like a bird.
Hooroo!
From here you try to examine his face, but you can only make out his emerald eyes beneath his mask. The corner of his eyes are wrinkling. Is he smiling? You feel your cheeks burning. If you were to die, then you wouldn't be standing here, Avaki. You can trust me in this. Just this one time, mind you. You fail to notice he's attempting to be reassuring when you hear him say your name. You've never told him your name. You step back and away from his grasp, and you hear him chuckle as he shrugs. You suddenly feel a burst of courage. If you were to die, you are going to at least get something out of this odd little talk. If you have my name, then I deserve to know yours. Names hold power. Power that should not be given away. Unsettled by his reply, you nod and step back and look for someone else to speak to. Hopefully someone less anxiety-inducing. Ballet! The ninja noble is absorbed in a book and does not notice you. Your chest is tight from anxiety, but also an excitement seeing Ballet again. You tap him on the shoulder. Hate to bother you again, but I see you have an interest in science. Here I thought you were all beauty and no brain. He pulls his head up from the book. Why can't I be both? I suppose that is true. Can I ask what book you were reading? His brow raises slightly as if surprised you take interest in something so trivial. Strangers usually ask me about my fights against Simurika and Manticore in the arena. Or how... Hold on. became an apostle. I am glad you do not want to know. Having to tell the first story is a bore, and the second is private. I am relieved you didn't ask for either. It's a book about chemistry. Do you have any interest in the sciences? You look like a sharp one, a beautiful one, too. Folly, please, I'm too gay for this. Your heart bounces in your chest and his offhanded compliment. You expected to be berated, put down for your social class in your old shabby clothing. He seems warm, like a campfire blazing against the gripping darkness. I've studied physiology and medicine all my life. The art of healing is my life's work. Wouldn't you agree magic and science are one and the same? Indeed, and learning the familiarities between the natural and metaphysical is necessary to understanding the fabric of our reality. Have you chosen a master in sciences to apprentice within the city? An apprenticeship? Why, do you think you can teach me? Actually, I was hoping we could learn from each other. I'm not arrogant enough to believe I know enough already. There's always something to learn from another. You feel hopeful that perhaps a brighter future awaits for you in the palace. Yet you know better than to cling on to hopes and dreams. You don't even know if you will live to see the next day. It was nice to dream. BB. Finding no one else to speak to, you follow the path of the red carpet towards the golden throne, standing in front of the Ridam woman and her companion. As if I am dying. It's 10 at night. And I'm dying. Nora and Anka stand by the throne along with another man that you did not get the chance to speak to yet. He is dressed in expensive silks, garments that look hand-woven with gold. You can't help but wonder at their street value. As you stare at the strange man, the room slowly begins to rise in temperature. Beads of sweat form at your forehead. I hear the music change. I hear it. I hear the music change. It's like when battle music comes on. No. You're gonna fight everybody in the throne room. Beads of sweat form at your forehead and a droplet runs down your spine. The ceiling, a mixture of diamonds, glass, and gemstones, catches fire. Shit! Rolling flames slap at the priceless decorations. Frightened, you recoil, but no one else seems to mind. You look up again to see their only reflections emitting from... It's 10 at night. It's 10:18. It's 10... Oh, God. Fuck. I'm like insanely gay. Holy shit. You turn your head towards the source of light and see her. They're right. Everyone is right. The Empress is truly an amazing... Yeah! No shit! It was as if you could behold the beauty of the sun and the cosmos in one room, in one single individual. She radiates power and danger, scalding warmth, her red hair shifting like a flame as she walked towards her throne, dragging her scarlet and gold deposits behind her. She approaches, everyone takes a knee, except Princess Anka, who stands behind you. You lower your gaze down and bow respectfully, fearful of looking into the eyes of this woman, if you could call her that. Yeah. There she is. You may all rise. In a single movement, you feel in your body shift. You bring yourself up, though your gaze is kept down, afraid of meeting her eyes. Do you want out already? Beep, beep. Oh my goodness, you're both here. One was gonna run into the door, Saunas. You raise your eyes to who the name belongs to. It was the man you did not speak to. Zasan, the name is familiar, but you can't remember where you heard it. You watch him take her hand and place a kiss on her knuckles. She smiles and in return kisses his hand as well. You wonder if you were hallucinating, if the Empress was truly kissing the hand of another, but it seemed to be very real. You find yourself staring too long at the two, who seem to be sharing a small moment together. Her eyes look towards you, and he smiles in your direction. Seems the petitioner is eager to speak. I'll take my leave. Slightly bows his head and presses his fingers on the top of his brow, bidding farewell to the Empress. You approach the throne, blood pounding through your ears. You keep a soaked demeanor on the inside. You feel like you're about to boil over from anxiety. Yeah, it's a mood. The Empress Ifrita takes her seat upon the throne, crossing her leg and tapping her sharpened nails expectantly. So Amir Ridam approaches the throne. You followed my order, but you are not yet worthy to receive my attention. Tell me, why should I spare your life? Her eyes narrow, piercing right through you. Your blood runs cold. The knowledge and power I bring from my homeland will prove useful to your cause. Feeling bold, you dare continue. You would have not sought my presence otherwise, my Empress. I just let you both out. Do you want back in already? Jeez. Ifrita lets out a dry laugh, lazily wrapping her fingers together. Her fluid movements betray no anger, but you could still sense the fire rolling off her. You were a mere vexation to her, no more than a tiny flea-like annoyance. You must prove yourself as good as your words. I have no issue crushing worthless bugs. You will do as I say from now on. I find myself in need of the talents of someone outside my court. I need a task completed, and you will prove to be quite the amusement. You wonder what she has in mind. If Ifrita was truly the woman from the stories, then this quest would prove to be the most ambitious undertaking you have yet to participate in. Manticore's wyverns emerge. You have seen the champions face them all without a flinch of fear. Now you are being requested to do the same. You swallow your fear, hoping that the Empress cannot see the beads of sweat running down your temple or hear your heart beating rapidly in its cage. Of course, my Empress, I will not fail you on this quest. Ifrita clicks her tongue, her lips pursing. You tense, worried that you said something wrong. How readily you are to submit yourself to me. Is it fear? Is it allure? It's 'cause you're really pretty. You stutter your words and try to bring her gaze down, as if defeated in this game of wits. Yet you can no longer bring yourself to tear your eyes away from Ifrita. I cannot say, Empress. A blistering cold seems to wrap the entire court as everyone watches on in shock. I don't recall giving you permission to speak. You feel your heart beating violently against your ribcage, ready to jump out. Your body tingles, limbs quivering. Ifrita gives you a wicked smile. I love her, wow. You take a breath of air you seem to have been holding in. Your body relaxes, but you're still on the alert. She seems to find that little quip to be adorable, rather than threatening. Oh, you are quite comical, but your smart mouth isn't doing you any favors. Yeah. Ifrita rises from her throne, her golden red dots gliding along the marble floors as she approaches the end of the dice, glaring down at you. Something has been stolen from me. What it is, you need not know. It's simple. Find my artifact, and I will spare your life. Better yet, I will make you one of my champions. She gestures to the nameless Lotog, Nora, and Valerio. Your ears perk up. You never thought you would be running errands for the Empress. However, if she went to all the trouble getting you, and you specifically, the artifact must be extremely important. Plus, becoming a champion, there is no higher honor than that. But why you? Before you have a chance to ponder the thought, the Empress speaks again. My champions? Valerio, Nora, and Alibaba. Now we got the name. Will aid you. But in the end, it will be up to you to see this through. You can say no, I accept. You can say no, you die on the spot. I'll check that out later. If Ritha seems unperturbed by your acceptance, she expected it all along. She returns to her seat on the throne, content to leave you without answers. That was not a request, but at least you come willingly to me. But remember, Ridam, should you fail me, the consequences will be severe. The room becomes a sweltering oven, the heat rising, rising, rising until you can no longer stand. You're brought to your knees as you feel the weight of Ifrita's power brought upon you. You stare pleadingly at the Empress, knowing that this is just a display of a fraction of her power. Ifrita smiles at you, knowing that you understand her message to you. Afraid to speak, you bow low in front of her, fighting the pain. Just as you feel that you're about to be boiled alive, you feel the heat recede, although the sting of it still stings your skin. You shudder, your knees weak and buckling from the pain. You push through, gritting your teeth as you answer. I will accept your quest, my Empress. The music died! That's scary! Wonderful! I knew you'd come around to see things my way. Frita folds her ringed fingers together, watching her as her court sways in a mix of shock and fright. She seems quite amused by their slack jaws and frightened stares. Even the senior members of the court seem surprised that the petitioner would survive such an encounter with the Empress. I've already accommodated I've already accommodated you. Nora will show you to your quarters. Nora parts from the wall where she stood during the Empress's display and approaches you. The sea of people steps aside for her, watching with bated breath. You attentively follow the general, glad to still have your life be yours. It's late. Your heart pounds wildly. Your chest, the dread slowly subsiding as it's replaced by a stark sense of uncertainty. This magic flows out of you like a burning poison, slowly fading away to a dull ache within your veins. Her magic was unlike any other you had ever encountered, carrying fire, air, earth, and water all at once. The thought of one person wielding so much power, it was like both of the suns bearing down upon you. As you walk through the halls of the Imperial Palace, you find that you can no longer could you bring yourself to enjoy the finery contained within it. The glittering gems and inscripted walls no longer draw your attention, nor does not speak as she leads you to your destination, guiding you through the halls. Her silence makes you uneasy. You open your mouth to speak when she halts in front of a doorway. You did well with the Empress. Without waiting for your reply, she opens the door to the room. Oh, that's your room. Oh! Is it? But you sacred sun sigil lights. I'm reading too fast. Just how often did you almost miss the presence of another son?
What are you doing here?
The son throws his attention to you against a toothy grin. You notice the sharp teeth hidden beneath his lips and instinctively take a step back to stand closer to Noor. What you don't expect is to feel Noor reach back for you, her gloved hands gently holding onto yours. So, petitioner, you watch before listening gesture, see but the farewell to finish the ways returns attention Noor and smiles. Across together the room is brightened by your presence alone. However, I do believe I must ask you to give me a moment of privacy with a petitioner. Noor's face betrays no emotion, but you think you hear a hint of annoyance in her voice when she speaks. Thank you for your kind words, Emperor. Ooh, shit. I'm hitting the wrong thing. You feel Noor's finger brush yours as she moves to take her leave, only to hesitate at the door. She looks to you and then to San. San notices her hesitation and speaks once more. Did you forget something, dear? No. I shall return to check on the well-being of the Empress's guests soon. Choice of words pulls up a sliver of fear within you. Was this person really that dangerous? Tension in the air tightens and twists your stomach. You don't want to be left alone with him or anyone at this point. San's face fades from traces of amicable and cordial to cold and standoffish. His arms fold over his chest and his cheeks crease against his frown. Nora has always taken everything we give her and run to new heights with it. Ambitious girl. He lets out a small sigh and rubs his temples before giving you his full attention. Hope you understand the graveness of the opportunity given to you. You stood before the Empress and lived to tell the tale. He smirks slightly, though his smile is anything but welcoming. You can begin to feel the fear climbing up your spine. The chill fingers of dread coming to rest on your shoulders. You ponder on where you can escape the window. No, you would fall into the gardens, the hallway. Simply leads back to the throne room. The San takes a seat on the bed, ignoring your rising panic and twisting the stem of a fallen flower in his hand. You know Nora was the one to decorate this place. She ordered flowers from her personal garden to be brought in. She's a romantic at heart, really. She didn't think you had a hope of survival, but wanted to give you a place of beauty to rest in, permanently or not. He removes his gaze from the flower and looks to you. The task before you contains the chance to obtain more treasure and prestige than you can dream of. With wealth and power like that, you could have enough to take care of your little human friend for the rest of her life. What is her name? Salam? She's very lovely, kind and caring as well. She must be making a dua for your safety as we speak. Anxiety weaves in your heart like a python. Salam had nothing to do with this, and the fact that the court knew of her filled you with unease. San steps closer into the space between you is near non-existent. I was in your position once. It only takes one chance, one opportunity to change the world. When your chance comes, take it. Your ears press back at his closeness. Despite the heat of the twin suns that burn the surface of Tavamand, your veins feel frozen. I will try to do my best. Despite your attempts to placate him, he merely laughs in your face, a smith-haunting laugh and masquerading as sweetness. For your sake, I hope you do. It's not my life on the line here, after all. He reaches out and places the flower behind your ear. From this distance, you can't help but look directly at his face. You see that the tattoos painting his neck and under his eyes are actually scars filled with golden ink. You breathe in sharply at the sight. They're beautiful. I see so much of myself in you. His smile widens and you see two fangs peer out from beneath his lips. Perhaps that is why I'm finding you oddly attractive. For a person in your position, of course. He drops his hand and takes a step away from you, his head tilted to the side as he looks you up and down. Unfortunately, now is not the time for such pleasantries. He leaves you, your thoughts swimming. You feel a weight lifted off your chest. Finally left alone, you fall to your bed, finally able to gather yourself and weigh your options of peace. The sounds of the gardens float through your window. You hear birds cooing and chirping, the wind flowing through the city spires, the soft murmur of voices down below in the living compound. You know your journey is only just beginning, but you are painfully aware that the one wrong move could bring your one chance of glory to a grinding halt. You lay down against the silken sheets, the smells and sounds of the palace lulling you to rest. Your dreams grip you and drag you deep into sleep, allowing you some peace. Why isn't there more? already following both. Fuck. Fuck. Just fuck. Oh my god, I love it. Oh my god, I love it. If it wasn't so late, I would play the other routes, but I have to take my med to go to sleep. I wanna play. Fuck.